We move over now to Southern Africa, and Zambia has attracted over 300,000 Chinese companies that have generated employment to over 50,000 locals in different sectors of the economy. Samantha Loring earlier caught up with China's ambassador to Zambia, Zhou YuXiao, on the phone and spoke to him about China and Zambia's economic relations.
The figure for 2010 was about 2.85 billion US dollars, while the figure for last year was 3.4 billion US dollars, and it's a big increase. And China's export to Zambia was about 615 million US dollars, and Zambia enjoy a very big surplus in terms of trade with China. And China has already offered 60% of the export items to China duty-free. And with that policy there, and I'm sure that the Zambians' export to China will be expanded, and which is already being seen in the last year's trade with China. And since the new government has stabilized its relation in the stabilized its situation in the country, and economy will be picked up, and I think and its relation with China is also stabilized, and I'm expecting increase of trade between China and Zambia. But I don't think it's going to be very big increase, because at this moment the major export items from Zambia to China is copper, and I don't think they have many other products to be exported to China unless there's a big boom or a big increase of import of copper from Zambia to China. And China exported to Zambia. I'm also optimistic, but I really do not see a drastic increase. And maybe too big increase is not something we are looking for, but I'm confident that the figure will continue to grow at a reasonable higher rate.
Ambassador, let's also talk about job creation, because one of the concerns is that Chinese workers were competing with Zambians for jobs, and Zambians were losing out on this end. What is the goal in terms of ensuring that Chinese doing business in Zambia, it benefits local Zambians in terms of creating jobs for local Zambians going forward?
I think China is one of the countries that creates the most job here in the country. If you put the trade figure and also the investment, it's more than 5 or even nearly 5.5 billion US dollars, and that increase that creates a lot of job. As far as we, according to our calculation, the Chinese companies are creating about 50,000 job opportunities for the local people. And if you put jobs created by Zambia's export to China, and the figure is much larger. Well, China have some technicians, engineers, and also work in the country. But it's not as serious as people was portraying, because in the previous few years, and there's a opposition party which make a China issue. So sometimes something happens, and there's a lot of rhetoric about this, and partly it is because of politics, not of Chinese excessive presence. And in fact, there are two issues. On the Chinese side, the Chinese government or the Chinese embassy is educating the Chinese companies to use Chinese laborers in a reasonable manner, and they should create as much as a job for the local people as possible. And in fact, if you visit the Chinese companies, you see lots of local people being employed there. And we also encourage the Chinese companies to pay the local people fairly and reasonably, and respect the laws of the country, and respect the culture, and also refrain from corruption in business practices. And actually, In fact, the Chinese companies are paying so much higher than the local companies. That's I'm telling the local people, and I say that if you find some companies who are not paying very well, let me know. Let me see with my own eyes.
Yeah.
But people are just repeating what one person is saying, and everybody follow.
So
in fact,
the
the Chinese are paying so much better than the local companies, and maybe only small number of companies who is not doing well. Because once the Chinese companies are registered here with relevant departments in the country, and in observance of the laws of the land is the responsibility of the local people. If they are violating the laws, and they should be handled according to the laws, as they handle the local people. So if they are registered here, the Chinese companies, they are in a sense they are Zambian companies,
yeah.
and they should be governed by Zambian laws.